All right, we'll get started. I know Liz will be here eventually, so we'll call the
Oh,
meeting to
sorry.
order. No, you're fine. At 6:03. And I'll look for an approval of the March meeting, yeah, March 26th meeting. You didn't meet in April.
Yeah, I was looking for them.
It's front and back, by the way.
Yeah. That's a short meeting.
It was a short meeting.
I read it.
Well, since I adjourned the meeting, so I'll say we're gonna,
Yeah,
motion to
like,
accept the minutes.
First, is there a second?
A second.
Perfect. Any discussion? All those in favor, say saying aye.
I,
Opposed, abstentions, thank you. Move right on to, old business. I'm not gonna recognize you, I guess. I'm just a member of the public tonight.
I remember.
Yeah.
and welcome, by the way.
Yeah,
Thank you.
exactly, yes. So old business update and interim trails. Well, there's a few things in your packet tonight. The top one, it's really about discussing of the public use plan. So there's really not much on the interim trails, but the top thing you'll see in your booklet is the interim trails. So it's a heat map of what has been used out there, and obviously that's not our interim trail system, but that is the trails in general out there.
Wow.
And you can see the use of each trail, and yeah, it's pretty impressive, and
How do you do that? You know, and Kathy always talks about,
it's an Avenza. It's Keith, it's Avenza, right?
oh, he is up there. Where?
I think you muted out, Keith.
Oh, go back up. I think you have to allow him back in. Allow to, yeah.
There you are. Okay, now. No, it's still muted.
There you go.
There you go.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
The Avenza, I guess, has some issues with the free program. They're not giving it anymore, so they're moving away from Avenza. I wrote down here somewhere what the name of the program was.
Heat map program, right?
But it's yeah, it's not a free program.
No.
But we can
it-
use, for
really
our
interesting.
we can use all trails, and all trails as we start mapping will be able to incorporate with the DEEP program.
So what I'd like to do actually is just move right down to the public use plan discussion. Under new business and kind of go through what we have. So there's two different things here. The top map, what I made, it's just a map that we've had with our meetings with DEP. And the second map underneath there is just my hand scribbling of what we talked about erasing some trails, not erasing them, but closing them off, because these are areas that need to close off. But I wanted to get right into what Keith has. And we have a little, I'm gonna share. Keith, I'm just gonna share what I got here.
Okay, great.
And whoa. So we've met with Deep 3 times, Keith, or 4? I can't remember which one it is.
I think it's 4, Ray.
4, yeah. So we've just had a lot of discussion of how to proceed with the public use plan, what trails we need, how we're gonna get them down to the recommended density, and what we're gonna look at, and what the trails look like, what the uses of the trails. So the whole gamut we've been talking about. In this last meeting, we pretty much started talking about what trails need to be closed, be due to vernal pools and their productivity, and what trails are just in low-lying areas that need to be removed, and what trails absolutely need to stay regardless of where they are, and so on and so forth. So he put together a little PowerPoint of what we talked about last week. And this particular picture Keith made up with AI. It was actually of the big cedar swamp that we have, and it was just they put a rendition of a little walkway, kind of like we had talked about, maybe a handicap walkway out into the swamp area, just kind of view it. So I kind of really like this picture, and it was just an AI picture, but it really gives an idea of what we could be doing, some of the stuff we could be doing out there. So that's all that is.
Gave us a mountain too. In the back.
Oh, I gave some out, yes, yeah,
That's
gave some out.
there.
Yeah, that's not really there, but
Or
Yeah.
it's big.
All right, so obviously goals and objectives, we talked about the vernal pools, overlooking some viewpoints, whether we want to do all of them, some of them, none of them. You know, there's pros and cons to all of that. Maintaining some of our grades, sustainable surfaces, and improving and reducing unnecessary trails and lowering the density. So part of the thing we talked about in the very beginning is lowering density. Say our density, we're using the Massachusetts guideline because Connecticut does not really have a guideline for trail density within any forest. So Connecticut has always used the Massachusetts guideline. And we need to lower the density by like 50%
Oh, wow.
of what we have, right?
Density of trails?
Density of trails
Okay.
within the preserve. So instead of getting, say right now we have 30 miles.
Mhm.
And instead of saying we need to get down to 15, we decided to do a little backwards. Let's eliminate some of the trails that we know to be eliminated and see where we end up. And if we end up with 20 miles, we'll be okay with it. If we end up with 12, we'll be okay with it. So trying to really reduce some of the trails that we know have to get reduced, and we might not get to that number that we want to get to. And that's just the reality of what we are dealing with out there. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Because we still have to connect to our other trail systems, and there may be some trails that just need to stay, and we'll be over that number, and we'll be okay with that.
But it's a goal.
It's a goal. It's certainly a goal, and it's gonna be a tough goal, but we understand that, and that's kind of where we're going with that. Keith, I'll let you go to the next slide here.
I think to do
Yeah.
it early and to set that goal will also start educating the public on.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Dressed
So-
up as creatures that I can't tell them.
Yes, you speak up very well for that. We appreciate that.
So,
Go ahead,
no-
Keith.
in our last meeting on Tuesday, we started to try to hone in on some real actionable items. And what we decided to do was, for the first stage of the project, was to prioritize the trails that were most needed to be rerouted. So we went through quite a few different maps. We went through the Clemens study, and we pinpointed about 5 different areas that we were going to start with. And then once we get started with that, the idea will be to reroute those, and then we can move on to the rest of the preserve to remove trails where necessary and so on. But for the beginning, I think the goal here is to preserve the wildlife in the areas that were most troublesome. And then down the line, we'll walk potential reroutes that will be flagged, and then after that we'll look for some volunteer support to recreate the trail lines and decommission the old ones. Okay.
Or I don't know if you guys talked, just out of curiosity, how do you really decommission a trail? Like, you can't just, I don't know.
Part of it is signage. I have them all in my office, actually. What we were gonna do originally, trails closed, and I think for these, I put for maintenance purposes. So people aren't just getting out there, and then you take natural stuff out there and put them in front of the trail, so people aren't using them. Doesn't always work. Also, education, also stewards out there on the land. So there's a lot that goes into it, and it's
Yeah,
it's not 100%
Yeah,
foolproof, so.
well, that's what I was wondering,
Yeah.
because I thought, because the sign, but I think the natural barrier idea at least
Yeah.
is more physical, like they have
Right.
to make a point.
That's the way Chris has done that. A few trails already in there, and it takes a little while. Sometimes what happens is, a bunch of riders or hikers go in there the first time and say, "Oh, look at this mess that's in the middle of my trail," and then they'll push it all out, and then we'll come back again and recreate the wood falls across that trail section. And if we have to, put up a sign that indicates that this has been rerouted for the various purposes that are necessary. So
All maps or whatever people use to go in there show where people are from, and maybe we put out articles in those towns papers too, because it's just assuming they're not Westbrook, Essex, local.
Good question. I don't know if it shows where they're from or not.
Yeah, well, there's another slide coming up that shows the trail layout that's in most of, well, it's in all trails and a few of the other programs that are used by all the riding programs as well as the hiking programs. And, I think we'll have some control over that, what shows up there in the future as we reroute the trail system.
That run those programs.
Tell them it's an official map and.
Yeah.
So this particular map you see here is all the trails that are out there right now. These crosshatch sections are the CPAs around the core protected areas, CPAs around all the vernal pools. Some of them are 400 feet, some are 100 feet, but a lot of them where the vernal pools are, they kind of intermingle with each other. So you can see the areas that we want to try to keep trails out of. And this particular area is very high density with trails, a lot of spaghetti stuff in there. But these are also some of the most productive vernal pools. So we need to kind of reroute a bunch of this area. If you need some perspective, this is Westbrook parking lot. This is the yellow trail that comes in from Westbrook parking lot. This is the town park area trail that comes in. This is Great Cedars East area and Essex up in here. So that's kind of the layout of the land.
All those blue marks are the vernal pools.
The small blue marks are the vernal pools. There's numbers on them. So it's 34 particular vernal pools within the preserve. Yeah.
It was 38.
34 that we have marked. There might be.
Well, that might.
Right, yeah.
I think they were productive. They used the definition of productive
Yeah,
vernal pools,
Right.
so.
And they're all different in what they do and who's in them and what's in them and all that good stuff. But I mean, for the most part, they're all interconnected. But this is kind of what we're dealing with. If you overlay this other green map onto that, you can see that everything is pretty much being used.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because we do want to protect all the vernal pools and the animals and the other stuff that's around that's important. That's why we do have the CPAs. It's essentially 60% of the preserve is preserved, it's a protected area. And we also know that some trails need to be there. Like, for example, this is the Ingham Hill parking lot area. This is our main red trail, but it's Ingham Hill, right? So it's gonna be there. It's
That's the historic road.
It's the historic road. It's an
Yeah.
unimproved road, so we need to have that. So I'm sorry, this is the Ingham.
And it's the worst offender too.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It goes by 2 vernal pools that are really productive.
Yeah,
So we've talked about this on my other map. You can see all the X's I have in here about what we want to try to get rid of. And I know it's just smorgasbord, and these aren't ground truth at all. We were just making marks where we could go and things like that. So give you an idea of what we talked about and what we're trying to accomplish within getting rid of some of these trails. Which is a lot. It's a whole bunch. And unfortunately, our interim trail system now, if we went from the Ingham Hill parking lot, follow the arrow here, it goes down through here. This is our blue trail rather, right through here, our blue trail. And it's really, really wet through here and it goes through a vernal pool. So we know we have to reroute this whole trail section, but we use it as an interim trail right now. It's been there for a long time. So, we just we just said, well, we gotta go something through here, get it off of the CPA and things like that. Like these trails in this western section, the eastern section, right through it. And like, we're gonna reroute it right through here, things like that, so these are old trails that have been there forever, and who knows why they got put where they got put years ago, but they are there and we have to try to move them. Some of them are really wide, as you know, some of them are pretty small, but kind of what we're dealing with. So we'll go on to the next slide, which is areas that we wanted to focus on. Go ahead, Keith, you can talk about these.
Sure. So these are the 5 priority areas that we're going to try to tackle this year. And these are, so the area 1, for instance, 7A and 7B are the most productive pools in the whole preserve. So we're going to start with that. And if you can see 7A and 7B in that circle, And the trail that runs right along that, that's Ingham Hill Road, that runs along that. And to the left of that is where many of the riders enter into the park. They come in through the Westbrook 153 lot. And basically all the trails kind of climb up the mountain and then come right down into that area. So, it's not going to be that difficult a task to reroute some of those trails around there. But you're going to have to more or less reroute them so that they're on the edge of that protective area. It's going to have to cut into the protective area at certain parts, but for the most part, where that circle is, that's high ridge there, high dry ridge. So, it's the least hazardous path that we'll end up choosing there to get around those pools. And then the rest of them, you can see the area number 2. That area there is near where the dam spills out. So that area will have to be looked at more closely, and we'll try to find a way to save the creatures, and all the way through 3, 4, and 5. Now these are estimates to a degree. The pools I circled that are in there and the trails themselves, I think I captured them in this map. So that's probably the most accurate of the next 2, because I tried to also put those same areas into some of the other existing maps that a lot of people are using today.
Look at this particular map.
So this,
You know,
So this one, this is the mountain bikers map. So it makes me feel that it's not going to be that huge a task. See, because I mean, when you look at these are in the heat map, a lot of these are the hottest ones, the most often used, because the reason they're that way is they tend to be more single track, more wilderness hiking kind of trails, more narrow and such. And many of them over time, they've been rerouted by the riders and the hikers to stay out of the muck. So some of them are actually really good trails. And there's plenty of mileage in there to keep the long hikers and the mountain bikers happy. But I mean, again, the bottom line here is it's a preserve, not just for us people, but it's a preserve for all the ground creatures and so on. We got to make it work.
It'll be a task like we've always talked about, but the most encouraging part of this is that it's moving forward. So we're certainly working on what trails we want to, keep established, which ones we want to reroute, so on and so forth. But it's also going to be a whole write-up of this as well. That's what the whole,
Well, we
planning.
have to start somewhere.
Right.
I know it's a living plan so
Right.
that we can say, oh, that didn't work, we can change it to over
Sure.
here.
Yeah.
So but to have that start really
Yeah.
makes me feel better.
And Kim Bradley's working on the write-up part of it. We're all
Okay.
working together on this part of it. And so far, it's been a great experience with working with the state, which has been excellent. Keith and I had a good conversation about it after our last meeting, since I had to pick him up. We drove together, and it's really been, it's been nice. I really think it's been nice. We work together, we're all on the same page. We all want to do the same thing, and we want to protect as much as we can protect in there as far as the vernal pools go and the flora and Florida, and there's certain things we want to make sure that people see, like there's a large oak tree that we already have established next to trails. We're gonna obviously keep that. It's huge. It's fantastic. People should be able to see it, so those are little things.
The next map was a little bit harder for me to pinpoint, but this is the base map that's on a lot of the kiosks throughout the preserve. And it does have the parking lots, more clearly illustrated. Not all of them, but the key ones are there.
So I'm just gonna divert us for 1 minute. I don't wanna go down a rabbit hole, but I'm just curious, that solar panel piece they wanna put in.
Yep.
So it's off of Bolton Road. Do you know, Ray, about where it is? Cause they said it's like a mile from the preserve. And I,
Right.
and every time I drive down there, I can't really figure out where.
It's,
So 72 Bolcom Road is the front, is the driveway that goes in.
I
that
know,
they
and
are
I was-
cutting.
Oh,
So it's basically between Bolcom Road and Route 9.
Right, so it's in
That
this,
little, that
right
little.
on
property
here, somewhere in here.
see, I
Yeah.
kept thinking it's on the left.
yeah, I come in from the left. So I
This is Boca Road right here, you can see Boca Road,
That was on the other.
this is Route 9, but it's
Yeah.
closer. The whole piece of property abuts the transfer station.
So it does it.
Yeah, and it's a large piece of
But the
property. That's
transfer
like
station's on the
10
left.
acres.
The part, I think the total is 56 acres, but they're
Something
only
like
addressed with the solar panels, it's a 7.5
Seven
acre.
acres, the front part of it, so
Okay,
I'm
It's on the
I'm not,
I thought it was between Bochum and the forest.
I know, that's what I.
no, it's on the other side of the
Saying that it backs up to. Is actually incorrect,
I
because
know,
there
I'm
was
thinking-
the agricultural fields between
Yeah.
the,
Yeah.
but,
I don't know why they need virgin land for that. Makes no sense. Taking trees down for.
I haven't heard, yeah.
So
No, I just was curious as to where it
who is the
was, 'cause I knew-
veterinarian? His name I'm spacing on right this second, who's been on a number of walks with Kathy. She and her
Agreed.
husband own a piece of land that might be that on,
So they own this piece of property right here.
oh, is that where it is?
Yeah, right here.
Okay, yeah. Cause
Oh, yeah.
I walked in with her to the preserve from their property.
Yep.
Um,
So this is our property right here, Great Cedars East, we're neighbors. And our trail system within here, actually, when it was first built, went on, it wasn't their property at the time. But it goes on their property for maybe 100 feet or so. And we're trying to
Oh, yeah.
work out an easement deal so our trails can go there, because it has to go around this little Oyster River Bay here, basically.
Susie Magruder.
Yes, correct. Yep. But anyway, yeah,
Okay,
but it's up in this area for sure. Or it could be closer in here. If you think about Bochum Road where the transmission station is, it's essentially across. from
Across from
that.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, now I guess, now, and it's the driveway, so now I have a better.
Yeah.
Or the road.
Okay.
Seem to keep
Exactly.
writing.
But obviously Keith started talking about, this is our interim trail map, and these are the areas that we want to work on. If you think about, you went side by side with this heat map to our interim trail map. It is a big spaghetti string, so, and something has to occur.
Wow.
The reality is like all the different trails that are on this map, like the red and the blue and some of the greens, those are gonna eventually, I would assume, become the evacuation system for the trail, the park. They tend to be Jeep roads now. They're not very attractive. They're not necessarily built to be sustainable. And they do, like we spoke about earlier, cut right through some of the most prominent vernal pools. So, but anyway, there'll be a lot more trails than this when it's all said and done.
And there's a few other things that we need to work on too, like essentially the Ingham Hill Trail goes off preserve property. And this is Land Trust, Old Saybrook Land Trust property. So it goes in their property slightly. It's right on the border. It's not a lot, but something we'll have to discuss with Land Trust to probably get another easement. Since they do particularly own it, I don't think it'll be too big of a deal. And then we have another trail that comes down from Town Park over here that cuts over this particular piece of property, which is privately owned right through here. So we'll either have to reroute this trail or get an easement through their property as well. So those little things.
Oh, they're really absorbed right in there.
Yeah, kind of interesting how this piece of property is right, the preserve, but.
I would have felt if the developer people said that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Right, so. So a lot of work has been put into what we've talked about. I mean, we're essentially meeting once a month at this point in time. We're not gonna meet again until after July 4th. And the next CMC meeting is June 8th. Monday, June 8th at 9 AM. And we're gonna present to CMC some of the things that we've been working on, so they know progress and so on and so forth.
May 8th at 9 AM.
There you go.
Yeah.
9 AM, and that will be
Town
in the
hall.
town hall in the main conference room. And I'll send that out to everyone next week to make sure, to remind everyone.
Yeah.
I
I have
have,
it on
yeah,
mine too,
yeah,
yeah.
So. Keith, anything else you want to share?
No, just an apology. This would have probably started like yesterday. But I got a new knee on May 10th and I'm still trying to figure out how to make it work. So,
Hit
but
the wrong button. Yeah. That's the other button. It's gonna take a little while. Aw.
That's all
Yeah.
right. You'll be strong enough in a little bit.
come July, I'll be ready to get moving full time. So,
You've done a lot, Keith. I really
Yeah.
appreciate your hard work, your,
no,
really
I'm-
going out there and personally surveying.
And some of the state, Kim's gone out there a few times with her intern too, to ground truth some of this as well. That's the other things we're gonna work on, is start ground truthing some of these workarounds. Whether they can work, cannot work. So on and so forth, and. You know, hopefully, we can start getting up some. Stop using the trail signs sooner as opposed to later. That's something we talked about, Martin.
We should do. Stop in the name.
Yeah.
of the-
Martin Tramitosi is the recreation coordinator with the state. He meets with us and we talked about getting out there, and he's got his team too that can help out.
Oh.
So
And we can broadcast it too.
Yeah.
There's enough Facebook pages that do little education blurbs, not too much, but enough to say. We're doing a lot of trail restoration. There's going to be trail
Yeah,
closings to protect.
also with the newsletter that we have, that it goes out there, and the stewardship team that was somewhat forming together as we're speaking. They can also help and get some of this out there too, so.
Do people sign in for that? The auditorium? The
You
middle,
can sign into it, so we have Google Docs that you can get into.
but remember we had that public?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Had 2 years of that.
Last year, I would say.
Wasn't last year.
No.
Yeah.
Either one.
I'd be
Yeah.
out of town and a kid under my roof last time I was like, coffee. So it was 2 summers ago. Do people sign in?
They sign into that, we got their email addresses,
Do we have that?
we have all that information, yeah.
There were some kind of, people were
Yeah.
watching their girls.
So what we've done is pretty much taken Google Docs as our main platform. We've started a email conversation per se. People ask, hey, I want to get out there and do something, but I want to do it alone. Can I get a hold of some of those people that are out there? So we decided to start something else too. But yeah, we have a whole list of activities that need to be done basically in my properties, not just the preserve. And people have gone out there and done some stuff. There's been some things that have come down that they let us know and they cleared out.
Also use that as an avenue to let people know.
There's some trailblazing that has been done and things like that, so it's a good thing. So,
Wow, this feels weird.
Yeah, I know. It's actually doing so
I
much.
know.
So many years of
I feel like
begging.
definitely in a new decade, I have gray hair now. Like this.
and Keith and I just
Long
wanted to
game.
really update you guys what's going on. There's really not too much for input that we need out of you guys as of yet.
Yeah.
But there will be in the future here. Once we figure out ground truth and stuff, I'd like everyone to kind of get out there and your opinion as well, you know, so I
We
think.
walk over those
Yeah,
trails.
yeah, just feel what we're doing.
We took a bunch of waypoints.
Yeah, no, we have all that stuff, yeah, so,
What's it doing?
but. You know, that's why. It's hard to have the whole group come to these meetings, that's why we have subcommittee anyway, but, you know, we have to bring it back to you guys to get that done, so,
It's more efficient.
It is.
absolutely.
Trust
It
you.
is. And
Thanks.
you can zero in on it.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone while I was out there, the day that it wasn't raining and there wasn't too much of some mud everywhere. So you know that days were limited, but, one of them was telling me how in Massachusetts, they have something similar to, you know, north of Boston. And they had a historic road, that's an old farm road, and they planked it. And I'm going, geez, I haven't seen that since logging days.
Yeah.
Hampshire, and I'm like, how would that work on Bingham Hill that's so boggy? Two areas, and then I'm thinking, no, how do horses go over it? Bikes, not so bad, but horses, but I was thinking, how do that raise it up just enough so that we're not constantly pounding through the soil, but anyway, just a thought, they were gonna send me some information, probably did it. Like, they literally take trees, round trees, and put them together. And, they're really, I mean, once they get that, but it allows flow underneath and you can keep the flow going. But it raises you up enough that it's dries it out. But I haven't seen that much equestrian riding in there, but this season maybe is the season where I see more. Because we're seeing more and more use.
It's definitely something there. I mean, it's from the Westbrook side.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially,
that's where we want them to come out in anyway, but they're definitely.
I think two, the farm, horse farms are right there.
there,
Yeah,
right.
but, yeah, so one of the girls that was actually training the horse to, understand when bikers go by.
Oh,
It was
jeez.
hard. It was a young horse,
I
but,
walked them on the road a lot. I know there's a farming, people pay to ride horses. I give them a wide berth. That's news, go horse for them. There's some.
Now you don't want to. do that.
Yeah.
no fast moves, no big noises, but once the horses get trained, they understand what's happening. And you can blow a whistle in their ear as you go by and nothing's going, but it's that training process.
Or a ball and one.
That sounded like a baseball.
Those all plastic.
Or.
Our recreation center, we allow that.
No swearing, but you can hit a ball in the window.
It was one of those cans you had in your car.
Oh my God.
So that's all I have in the public use plan discussion. That's really all I wanted to update everyone that went on the meeting. I don't, like I talked about earlier, I don't have an update on trails. They are what they are at this point in time. Nothing's been discussed with weed control management. And mountain biking is, they're still out there, so.
Well, for animals, I can tell you that on my non-money day, I saw mink. I saw a fox, young fox with young, and she was bringing in mice to her little hole in the wall. I won't tell you where. Well, I can tell you where, but and I saw a fisher. And
Right.
I'm
Oh,
like,
wow.
all this, actually, it was probably
Did
great.
Tell the mink to be feet because the fisher was.
No, it
Like
was
this.
and the only reason why I knew is if I could hear it go up the tree. And I'm going, wow, that was fast. I'm looking, there it was. Nice little one, the fisher.
What time of day was it?
Actually, I was kind of impressed. It was about 1:30.
Really?
1:30. The fox, they're feeding.
Oh,
right
yeah.
now. And, I mean, this was earlier, this, latter end of April, but, I mean, it was like, they were pretty fox.
They're so pretty.
Just like had like 3 mice in her mouth.
The mamas are just happy. We had 7 kids under my neighbor, across the street barn. Years, like 4 years ago now. And it was just fascinating. And they're around still, and right around dusk, summer will bark and a fox runs up the middle of there. I don't know where they are now, but it's also ridiculous what humans do, like put plates of food, like, stop it. Yeah.
But fox and deer know your schedule better than you know your
Yeah.
schedule. I have 2 deer that know exactly when the first bus goes into the Goodwin School. And I can hear them as they clump around the marsh, the sidelines, and they come out and they know when Trask Road pickleball players are starting to come.
Yeah.
As they move, and I just sit on my back porch, I can just about see anything. And I just sit there and go, gosh, you see that
Yeah.
people do, So oblivious, and the deer's right there. No clue.
Keith and I walked out last time we were in person and saw 2 fox. We're bringing around
Two
here.
foxes live over.
Yeah.
Back over there.
Oh.
Thanks.
I haven't seen one, we had one living around our area for the longest time, and they left me, but I haven't seen one.
And he scurries around the field every once in a while.
Yeah, they went running towards Northfield.
So there's definitely a lot of coyotes out there as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
our fox are hiding,
Yeah.
the coyotes are back.
there is one male coyote that goes from Sheffield Street all the way down to Acton Library behind the school. Very proud male coyote, struts his stuff, knows he is the alpha of alphas. And he is, he's really gorgeous. to look
Yeah,
at.
yeah,
I mean, if I was a female, I would say, that ain't one good looking. But he's long legged and his body is well rounded and, it's not a koi dog and it's not what they are trying to sell everybody as a koi book.
Oh my God, the
And,
people, do you
oh,
have people in Saybrook? I have people in West.
I say that
That's hilarious.
with, like, do you really know how?
Yeah.
Yeah,
no.
not doing that,
No.
but, yeah, he will, and he does it. Time, in another half hour.
I wonder if it's, because I've seen one, it's pretty big. Walks in our marsh, in the back.
Yeah,
We're not, it's conceivable he could make his way around from Acton.
yeah,
Sure. Sure.
Cause yeah, he's just been him by himself.
yeah.
I heard a bunch one evening, all run by, doing the whoop, 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 whoop.
Hear the new owl, I can't quite tell what it is. Anyway.
Well, if,
Owl Kingdom.
anyone else want to add anything else to the meeting? We're gonna, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Okay, cool, so.
Jinx, I'll second.
All right, well, next meeting is end of June.
Yeah.